You're watching the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive, hosted by Kevin Britton, right here on Stadium Drive Sports.
What's going on, everybody? I am your host, Kevin Britton. This is the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive. You can catch me here every Sunday and Wednesday for all your Chiefs content. Today, we are going to be looking at my mock draft for the Kansas City Chiefs for 2022. This is post Tyreek Hill trade, so 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, and 3 sevenths. I'm doing no trades on this particular one. I'll do another one later that we will be able to conduct some trades and kind of see how we can maneuver around. But let's go ahead and hop right into it here today. What did I do with the first pick? Pick number 29. I went with defensive tackle Devonte Wyatt out of Georgia. So Devonte Wyatt, 6'2", 304 pounds, and I'll give you a brief kind of rundown on Wyatt. So he has good proportional strength and very active hands in the passing lanes, which allows him to really be able to break up passes a lot like we see Chris Jones do. So I feel like having those two guys in the middle is going to create a lot of disruption for the offense. And that's something that Wyatt does particularly well. He's able to get good push into the backfield to help disrupt the quarterback, disrupt the running backs, and really kind of throw off the timing of everything. So pretty decent when it comes to pass rush and pretty good when it comes to the run as well. So he's a well-rounded guy. I would say a little better against the run than the pass at this time, but that's kind of the norm when you look at defensive tackles. A few other players that I kind of considered here with this pick. Wide receiver Treylon Burks, wide receiver Jahan Dotson, defensive end David Ojabo, defensive end Boye Mafe, and defensive end Cameron Thomas. So as you can see, Wyatt fell to us, so I went defensive tackle, but my eyes were on receivers and defensive ends. So if Wyatt didn't fall, we very likely would have been looking at a receiver or a defensive end with pick number 29. Now, also keeping that in mind, we do have back-to-back picks. So, first round pick number 30, I went with wide receiver Treylon Burks. So, Treylon Burks, big body wide receiver, something a little different compared to what the Chiefs have normally been going with at wide receiver for quite some time now. So, Treylon Burks coming out of Arkansas, he stands at 6'2", 225 pounds. He's an athletic, big-bodied wide receiver. So he's able to elevate. He can get the contested catches and fight off the defense, catch in traffic. But he's also a very willing and able blocker down the field as well, which is nice with what this Chiefs team likes to do. This will actually play very well into what we use Mecole Hardman for. So he's able to get out in front of plays and really be a lead blocker on some of the outside runs, those jet sweeps for the jet, and also just your regular wide receiver screens as well. So having that kind of big body guy on the outside definitely allows us to have some more flexibility with our offense. Now, some other players I considered, wide receiver Jahan Dotson, more of a speed guy. Defensive end David Ojabo, defensive end Boye Mafe, defensive end Cameron Thomas. So obviously, same guys that I was considering with the pick right before this. So we come away with the first round with the defensive tackle and a wide receiver. I think both starting caliber right off the bat, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Pair of starters that can be impact players for us.
Welcome, Royals Empire. You now have an informative, interactive show made right here in Kansas City and made just for the Royals fans. Hosted by me, Sean Barr. Let me take you down the Royal way as you indulge yourself with some great Royals coverage along with coverage around the league. Plus a variety of fun segments. Might even learn a thing or two. Even for the avid fan. Come join me. This is the Royal Way, only here on Stadium Drive Sports.
All right, and now on to the second round. With pick number 50, I went with defensive end Cameron Thomas out of San Diego State. So he was one of my other options I was looking at with pick number 29 and 30. So very delighted to see him fall to pick number 50 for us here. But Cameron Thomas, he's 6'4", 267 pounds. He's a strong edge setter, but he has some sneaky athleticism to him as well. He fits the exact mold of what we say of a Spags defensive end. Now, he does show a lot of promise where he can continue to develop and become an even more versatile player and be able to play outside of that Spags scheme, if you will. So if we do end up making a change down the road to what our base defense is, he's somebody I think will be able to adapt to that. Some other options here as well with pick 50, defensive end Drake Jackson, linebackers Chad Muma and Brian Asamoah, and cornerback Kyler Gordon. All right. With pick number 62 in the second round, I went with linebacker Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma. So Asamoah is 6 foot tall. He's 226 pounds. He's athletic, but he plays with good speed. So he may not run a fast 40, but he has adequate playing speed on the field. Now, the athleticism that he has mixed in with the range that he's able to cover actually allows him to really excel in coverage. So this is that type that I've been talking about, that linebacker type that is able to drop back, man up, also play zones and run different coverages on tight ends and running backs. Now he does effectively limit yards after catch, so he may give up some receptions, but he's going to make the sure quick tackle thereafter. And he is able to go up on the 50-50 balls and really contest those with the receiving option that he is covering. Some other options that I did have here, again, Kyler Gordon, cornerback, defensive end Drake Jackson, and another wide receiver, a speedy wide receiver, Skyy Moore, another option that we had there. Now let's go ahead and move on to the third round here. So third round, pick number 94. I went with wide receiver Skyy Moore out of Western Michigan. This will be our speedster that we're drafting in this draft. He's 5'10", 195 pounds. Now, his game is based around speed. So no, he's not Tyreek Hill. I would compare him more to somebody like Steve Smith that played for most of his career with Carolina. I think is a good kind of comparison for him. But Moore's very shifty athlete, and that along with the kind of quickness that he has in short spaces allows him to really be able to break tackles, and which in turn allows him to excel in yards after catch. Now, some other options I had here were a couple of cornerbacks with Cam Taylor-Britt and Kobe Bryant, offensive tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere, and defensive end Nick Bonito were my other options that I was looking at here. Now, staying in the third round, pick number 104, I did go with cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt. Cam Taylor-Britt is coming out of Nebraska at 5'10" and 196 pounds. So he's a versatile corner. So he can play man, but he can also drop back and play in zone as well. He's got good ball skills, and he's a solid contributor against the run. So he's a guy that can play on the outside. You can slide him to the slot as well. He can drop back man. He can drop back coverage. He can into zone coverage. He can come up on the line, play the receiver there, or be able to attack the run also. So again, versatility. Versatility is key for this defense, and this is the type of guy that, like I said, he can turn and run with the receiver, or he can play more of a zone with his eyes in the backfield. So I will be delighted if Cam Taylor-Britt is there at 104. I think that would be a phenomenal pick and a very good fit as well. Other players considered, again, defensive end Nick Bonito, also safety Nick Cross, and running back James Cook. Now, I know that we just recently signed Ronald Jones, Rojo, is a Chief, but James Cook brings an extra element of speed that CEH, Rojo, Gore, none of them really have. So I think he can add a new dynamic, which was why I was giving him a little consideration with this particular pick. Now moving into the 4th round, pick number 121, I did go with safety Nick Cross out of Maryland. I think Nick Cross is a great sleeper in this draft. If we're wanting another safety, there is no need to take it early if we're able to get Nick Cross in the 4th. He's 6 foot, he's 212 pounds. He's got great length, which allows him to be able to make up for any time he might be out of position and still be able to get a hand on the ball. And he's also not afraid to lay a lick on you as well. So he can hit, and he's got the speed and the length to be a very productive safety in the league for years to come. Other players that I gave consideration with this pick: tight end Jake Ferguson, cornerback Zion McCollum, cornerback Tyreek Castro Fields, and offensive tackle Rashid Walker. All right, rounding out our 4th round, pick number 135, I went with cornerback Tyreek Castro Fields out of Penn State. So Castro Fields stands at 6 foot tall, 197 pounds, exceptional length. If I remember correctly, he was rumored to have like 35-inch arms is what the rumors were in college. But even if it's not 35 inches, he still knows how to use the length that he has. So again, he's able to use his length in press coverage, be able to get his hands on the receivers, jam them, mess up the timing, throw them off of their routes. But he can also use it to break up passes as well. So another cornerback that fits the mold of what we like in our secondary. A couple other players that I also considered here: offensive tackle Rashid Walker and defensive tackle John Ridgeway, to add some depth there as well, which is going to move us into our 7th round picks. Again, we have 4 of them, so we'll just look at all of these together real quick here. So with pick 233, our first pick in the 7th round, I went with offensive lineman Cordell Volson out of North Dakota State. Pick number 243, I went with cornerback Jermaine Waller out of Virginia Tech. Pick number 251, I went with speed out wide receiver Jalen Naylor out of Michigan State. And with pick number 259, linebacker James Houston out of Jackson State. James Houston the 4th, to be exact, if I remember correctly. So 7th round is all about kind of taking a shot on guys that have some upside, that can play some special teams in the meantime while you develop them to see if they can become true contributors on the offensive or defensive units. And I think all of these guys hit that. I think grabbing somebody like Jermaine Waller, that's special teams right off the bat. Jalen Naylor has tremendous speed, so again, special teams right off the bat. And we can really look to develop these guys and get them into a position where they can then see the field on offense, defense, and be able to come in and really contribute. But like I said, in the meantime, add some depth, special teams, and we know we got a lot of spots to fill out. So if we hang on to all these picks, or majority of these picks, we can get some cost control guys here for the next several years. They can really help fill this out and help set up the future for the Chiefs as well. So I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to the channel if you would. And if you like the content, go ahead and like the video as well. It'll really help everything out, help push this out to more Chiefs fans also. And we can continue to grow the 12th man fan. But leave a comment down below. Let me know what picks you like, what picks you didn't like. And maybe anybody that I didn't mention during this video that you have your eye on for the Chiefs as well. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, my name is Kevin Britton. Until next time.